long day, you guys, so we've got to get going.
It's not my one.
My name is Chris. I think you may or may not know that. I'm from Canada, originally, a long time ago. I've been in China for 10 years. My Chinese is very, very, very bad, which is, I guess, something to learn from, that you can survive and sort of thrive in this culture with basically only survival level of Chinese. I'll talk more about that later, though. I am married to a Chinese woman. We just got married recently, actually. Thank you very much. And I'm here to talk with you guys a little bit about culture, and Chinese culture and cultures joining together. Again, thank you all for giving me your Saturday. Because it's a Saturday, and because it's first thing in the morning, I thought we would do something, hopefully it's a little bit fun. We're going to play some cards. So in front of you, you have cards. It's the modified deck of cards. Everybody sees it, yes? You also have an indication of what table number you are, at least for this activity. Again, very, very good, you guys. Thank you. Of course, the purpose was exactly what you've accomplished, to get us thinking a little bit about culture and thinking about moving to other tables and learning the rules of that table. So now let's talk a little bit about this country. Again, I'll keep you in this situation where we're all talking together for now, if I can. Just briefly, if I could, you guys, before you came to China, what picture did you have in your head about this country and about the people? Anybody?
Messy country.
Messy country? Define messy. What do you mean by messy?
Traffic jam, so many people, lasting.
You had this in your head before you got here?
Yes.
Then your dream was realized.
Yeah.
Not my fault.
I thought you come from Thailand.
Yes.
Sorry, wait a minute. You thought it would be the same as home, is what you're saying.
So it's not technologically developed.
Not technologically developed?
Yes.
In Peter's case, that asking open-ended questions would have been, at very minimum, a lot better than what he has done. However, under this circumstance, because he's the boss, I doubt that he would get a whole lot of replies. Unless he allowed the Chinese to discuss it amongst themselves first, or to break into little small groups and brainstorm some ideas to see if they had support for their opinions. Then there might have been somebody who was more willing to be extroverted and offer
That was only because Amy told him.
Again, I appreciate that this is getting you guys thinking about the way things operate in your company. I'm very happy to hear that. But from a cultural standpoint, I go back to what I heard here, that placing blame, certainly doing it publicly, is crazy, absolutely crazy. He has completely lost credibility with his team, and if he doesn't quit, at the very least, he's got some difficulties working with Carlson, and in fact, working with his own team. So Carlson has created a big, big problem for himself and for the Chinese. I'm going to solve this problem for him very, very well.
Yeah, I'm still hung up on the line that says he was surprised at how little discussion went on during the meeting.
Good question, good comment, Casey. Why are you hung up on it?
Because it's very true. I've tried to put people in a room and say, okay, lessons learned by yourself, and tell me what we need to change. And that hasn't really been productive. I've tried to sit in the room with them, but much like this, I end up telling everybody my very ill-informed perspective of the situation, and so that doesn't really...
After our talking today, can you tell me why that happens now?
I think culturally you were saying that you actually asked the team to go away even in little subteams and come up and sort of identify whichever issue it is that's on the table or the topic for discussion, how our process or procedure could be improved.
Absolutely.
Rather than even blaming, you know, that it was Wes's fault or Stuart's fault or Amy's fault. I mean, I think there's a real problem identifying individuals.
Go back to your first point. So I repeat, my suggestion will be over and over again the same thing. The easiest way to get the feedback you want in a meeting is one or both of two things. Give all the information you possibly can in advance and let them prepare in advance for what they're going to say. Secondly, or in addition to that, allow them to talk in Chinese in small groups or in one large group when you're not there, and to give you a summary of what their feelings are. If you need an individual statement on that lessons learned, then I would go with the first one. To bring it up in a meeting without any prior information that is happening, or without any prior time for them to discuss amongst themselves or to think deeply in their own mind what they want to say, you're going to get the silence. So what does this mean for you in terms of the feedback? Well, first of all, absolutely you should not do what the pointy-haired boss is doing here. This won't work anywhere, I don't think. But it certainly won't work in China. So again, same thing I said as many times as I can here today. Explain from the start or in advance what you're hoping to accomplish or what you're hoping to get, what you'd like to have happen from the team. And in terms of communication, constructive criticism, explain from the start what quality of work you're looking for, what the quality of work is that you expect to have achieved. Feedback is good, and this is an important phrase to keep talking about. Feedback has two different ways to use it, right? And Wes talked earlier about the feedback I encourage you to get, you guys. Feedback of comprehension. That's one form of feedback. This time we're talking about the other form, the more common form, which is feedback in terms of performance evaluation. But both of them are things you need to be considering. I strongly agree with what Wes had said earlier. When you're talking to someone who's listening in their second language, particularly someone of an Asian culture who is unlikely to acknowledge they have not understood you, then absolutely push for feedback. I mean comprehension feedback.
Could I make one also real quick comment about our specific situation in our office here? I think people need to be very careful judging the English skills of our workers, our co-workers, strictly by their spoken English. Because some of them speak English quite well, but their levels of comprehension can be significantly lower than that.
Yeah, there's a difference between hearing and listening, right? Yeah. And again, there's cultural things involved as well on that, West, I think, which is the last part of today. So let me move on to that, okay? Yeah, feedback is a good thing. Make clear that they will receive feedback, both positive, positive feedback and constructive feedback. And the purpose of this is to help the team meet goals, and the purpose of this is to help with their professional development. So explain that this is coming. Don't make it a surprise. Don't make it a surprise. And again, I've repeated this 2 or 3 times. It's perhaps one of the other things I would strongly encourage you guys to do. I know it's unusual from a Western standpoint, but check to see. The main difference probably from the way we do things at home. Monitor work progress frequently. I know at home I've always basically been, this is the way it's been done to me, and what I have always done is I delegate it. His responsibility. Come back to me when it's done. How did it go? I strongly discourage you from operating that way in this country. Frequently monitor. Check how things are going. Ask if there's ways for you to assist. Ask if there's things you can help with. As I said, some Chinese are reluctant to ask questions, since this shows they did not understand. They didn't understand what was said, or they didn't understand what to do. And this results in a loss of face for both of us. If I am a Chinese and Craig is explaining something to me and I don't understand him, I lose face for not understanding him. He loses face for explaining it in such a way that I couldn't understand him. So what will happen is Chinese people will do this, they'll go, and then they'll go talk to this Chinese person. What do we do? Do you understand what? And then they will try to figure it out by themselves. That's what commonly will happen. So it's always ensure that the task or whatever it is you're saying has been understood, feedback, comprehension, and monitor the progress to make sure it's going as well as it should go. That there's nothing holding it up. Praise in public, of course, means to criticize in private, as we've discussed a number of times today. Focus on job-related behavior, not personal characteristics. Be descriptive, not judgmental. And use, again, most of this stuff is what you would do at home. The only real business I'm encouraging you is this one here, the monitoring the progress, frequently checking how the work is going.